what it's like to lose. Feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail nonetheless. Ready? I know what it's like to lose. Feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail nonetheless. Dread it, run from it, destiny arrives all the same. And now it's here, or should I say, I am.
Oh. Coming at you just before kickoff, just before the start of another glorious fantasy season. This is Bundy here and you there, kicking off the 12th season of this worthless, pathetic league, full of degenerates, full of losers, full of terrible owners, full of good owners, full of elite owners, full of different personalities. We are not a monolith. We don't think exactly alike. We don't move exactly alike. We don't have the same interests, but we all come together every year and we play in this glorious league. 12 seasons. We've played 11. I have 3 championships. That means 30% of the time that we open up these fantasy leagues, I end up the victor. If I was a baseball player, I would be batting over 300. 30% may mean something different to you, whether you're in sales. 30% may mean something different to you if you're watching sports. It may mean whatever the fuck it is to you, but I need you to ground that idea and make your peace with it. You guys aren't batting 300. Some of you guys are batting 0. Some of you guys are batting 125. It's pathetic. You're being outclassed. And I want you to realize that. But before you realize that, I have to sort of get an understanding of something that maybe I haven't touched base with you guys. I don't know what the words fantasy mean in your head. I don't know what fantasy football means when I say it and you hear it. I know what fantasy football means to me. I know what a loss means to me. I know what a win means to me. I have a philosophy about what fantasy is. I have a philosophy about players, and I think you should because we've been playing this for over 10 years. And if you could just simply say that you haven't developed the philosophy because we don't play for the things that you want to play for, or we never, it doesn't feel the same as other fantasy leagues. I don't know what that means when you say it. And if you do feel that way, you need to take a course of action to motivate yourself so you can actually fucking compete within this league. We have different owners. We have owners who haven't won in a while. We have owners that have never won. We have owners that win quite often. We have different people in this league. But what I really want to get a sense of, what I really need to understand is what motivates you. That's what I want to know. And this isn't some cheesy motivational talk. This isn't what this is. I really want to know because this is all built on motivation. It's all built on it. It's either you're motivated by something that's external or you're motivated by something that's internal. Would you play fantasy a lot harder if you knew there was something to get? Shall I remind you that there is something to get? It's a belt. I have it. You don't. Come get it. If you're internally motivated, great. Then there's something within you that innately has to win. You have to win because you don't need something to get because you are it. It's already inside of you. So whatever it is that motivates you, I want to get an understanding of it. I want to know if losing at a fantasy league where there is no money hurts more, or if it doesn't matter to you, or if it matters to you more if there is that sort of incentive or that sort of goal. If there is, then I need you to speak up. I need you guys to fucking talk because the most, I think the message that I want to get across to you guys with these recaps, above many, many other things that we will get to, it's that if you have an issue with something, If something isn't working for you, then you have to speak up. Because if you don't, you're just passive aggressive. You're just sitting around and tweedling your thumbs and rolling your eyes and shrugging your shoulders and never really speaking up as to what would make this more of an enjoyable experience for yourself. This isn't my league, even though in some cases it is. This isn't my league. It's not the Commission's league. It's not Jay's league. It's not Ed's league. This is our league. But make no mistake about it. That intro speaks loudly. I don't play it as an accident. I'm very deliberate with everything that I put in these recaps. I know what it's like to lose, to feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail nonetheless. You understand that I've snapped my fingers exactly like Thanos, and I have eliminated half of this league, as Thanos' goal was to eliminate half of humanity. I've eliminated Hensel. I've eliminated Joe. I've eliminated Paul. I've eliminated Dro. I've eliminated Eric, all from contention of competing for something. You guys are all in the sunken place. You are owners who you haven't done anything necessary to compete. Paul may not or should not be thrown in this group. I just think Paul's victory was a fluke. I don't think because you have a championship, you should be not included in that list. I think it's irrelevant. I think you won because you got lucky. And hey, anyone can make a case and say that every fantasy victory is luck. Well, I got to ask you then, if we played 5 years down the line, would you be surprised if I had one more victory or two? And if you can confidently say that you wouldn't be surprised that I could win one or two and you still might not have shit, then how could this be luck? The shit's chess, Junior. It's not checkers. And the fact that you still think that we're playing checkers is exactly the reason why you're listening to me right now with that feeling of contempt, that feeling of how dare he talk, that feeling of, well, a fantasy victory means something totally different to me. It means nothing. Why is he even talking? No one cares. I love my life. My life is this. My life is that. I don't know. Do you correlate fantasy to your life? Is it something separate? Do you consider yourself a loser if you win or lose? This is my point. I don't know what this means to you. And if we're going to continue to do this league and I'm going to continue to spit fucking venom on this microphone, I need to get to know you guys better as competitors. Because if I run into you guys on the street or see you guys at a bar, I understand that we're just competing in a stupid little league and I'm on my stupid little soapbox. But within this world of Dungeons and Dragons, and I've told you this before, you're being dominated. Regardless of what you want to consider it to be, what my perspective is, what your fucking perspective is on what winning is, what losing is. I won when we first started the league, Pedro. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Pedro. Peace has cost you your strength. Victory has defeated you. And you know exactly where that quote comes from. It doesn't matter. You see, because if we play this league in another 25 years and you guys would still be behind, then at that point you would probably assess like, okay, there's a system here. There's a philosophy here. There's something that's been put together and there's a method to this madness. If there's not a method to your madness, then I suggest that you develop one. I suggest that you develop your system of players on how you look at them and how you want to put them together, whether you want to emphasize on running back power, quarterback power, or you want a little bit of everything. If you haven't developed a philosophy, you better fucking develop it, because I know exactly how you guys draft. I know the mistakes that you'll make in the season. I know the spirits that will be crushed after 3 or 4 weeks of wins or losses. I know who's going to get high. I know who's going to get too low. I know who's going to just forfeit after they have no chance. I know who's going to get way too excited if they come out of the gate 5-0. I know who's going to jump on waiver players that score 2 touchdowns and 90 yards first week out of the gate. I know who's going to start using all their waiver pickups the first 5 weeks of the season. I know you guys. And whether you want to consider that it's irrelevant that I had this intel because it has no value in the real world or whatever it is that you want to justify, the fact that I got this belt and you don't is fine with me. But just understand, 30%, that can mean anything different in whatever it is that you do every single day of your life. And we can have different views on what fantasy means and all that stuff. You work in retail, 30% could be your commission. 30% could be your employee discount. You work in sales or retail, whatever the fuck, as I used to, then it can mean conversion rates or, you know, a sales record or whatever the fuck it is. If you're a police officer, it could mean a certain quota that you're trying to reach. Whatever the fuck 30% means to you, just understand that within this world, 30% means a whole lot. 30% means I'm batting over 300. Pay close attention to that, gentlemen.
I know what it's like to lose. Feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail nonetheless.